Probably every long journey begins with the first step, figuring out where you are and where you're going along the way. So, hello and welcome to the first look behind the scenes and the making of a FanX feature film. In this first entry, I hope to show you and talk about some of the model making, the 3D capturing process, as well as some concept art, and hopefully one or two rendering shots at the end. Along that, this should mainly serve as a first look at the film, the story, and the making of it. Start with a drawing board. We're going to draw Fiora Falk's boot, her footwear. It's part of the costume and the starting point of the 3D model. For me, this is a very important part of the character. The animation of the walk, the style of Fiora and her weight in the world will resonate through these boots, and I want them to be awesome. I want them to have a soul and not to be some generic adventurer boots. So I take some time and I draw out some basic sketches, so later I can use them for reference, and also I have something to start with. I will not use them directly as a background and model my way around and do the wireframe exactly like it, but it's a first step into the right direction. So as you can see, there are a lot of mistakes I'm making here right now. This is not some fixed idea and it will not be a clean cut, but it's enough for me, and also I'm not doing this as a job, so I have the freedom to go over the line and to make the mistakes and to develop the idea as I go along, and I also can make changes to it. You know, this is a freedom I have that I very much enjoy in this project. So, now I have the boot, the concept, and the next part will be to bring it into life in the computer. So here we are now in the viewport of the 3D modeling program. As you can see, I'm already starting to create the geometry for the boot model. And this will be my main tool for character creation, for set building, and for animation and rendering and so forth. Basically, you have three options if you want to create a world in a computer. You can either rely on pre-existing models and modify them. You can make scans of real-world objects, like keys and furniture and even characters or models or people, faces, what have you not. Or you can build everything from the ground up. I also have to keep in mind to not get over my head, you know, keep the geometry as simple as possible, because later there will be scenes where environment and weather effects and a lot of geometry will be put together. I'm not a big fan of having too many layers in one shot. I like to keep as much as possible in the rendering scene itself. So I also have to keep in mind that I keep the geometry and the working models as simple as possible, so I don't run into problems later. The style and the visual will be very unique, I hope. There will be something of a comic character feeling to it. Not particular cell shading, but getting into a little bit into the effect of cell shading, and also have clean colors over saturated colors. You know, have a vibrant feeling to it, so that like the environment and surroundings are maybe bleak, or the weather effects are glowing bleak in the dark and give a nice background, and then the objects of the scene itself, they will light up from within and give a very colorful and a very tasty feeling. So we are, basically I'm miles away from the uncanny valley. I don't have to worry about that. I'd just have to worry about getting the visuals as I have it imagined. And this is already going to be a tough part. As you can see here, I'm now trying to get the texture onto the model, but I run into some problems there because putting a texture on a model, especially a complicated model, this is now a very easy model. It doesn't have a lot of polygons on it. It's not a complex model. As you can see here, it's maybe about 400 or something surfaces. But first you need to clean that up into a 2D plane. Basically you will flatten the 3D object on a 2D plane, and this 2D plane will be your map, your texture map. You know, your texture map is a flat image, and you can cover that on top of the 3D model. It's like the same problem you have when you trying to come up with a world map, that you cannot, without problems, make a map of the world, because the world is a 3D object, and if you try to flatten the surface, then you will rip the plane, the surface plane. So you either have to stretch some parts of the map or make other compromises. And this is a very old and common problem, and there are some solutions to it, and I had to figure out first what my solution would be, and I'm sticking with making not so complicated individual objects, so I can use an automated modifier from 3ds Max to do that for me, to flatten the whole model into the map, and also getting rid of overlapping faces, so that the same part of the map will not be projected at two different places of the object at the same time. Yeah, so now the geometry is finished, and also texture mapping. You can see the different colors representing the different areas of the maps, and now I can take this output from 3ds Max and put it into Photoshop. Here you can see the flattened out map, and I will just apply the different textures I prepared and put it back on in the 3D program. And here you can see a rendering shot, and I'm very satisfied with the results. It's rough, but I can make some really nice results with it. Okay, so now in the last part you saw a little bit of the model making, building something from the ground up, but I want to have a lot of real models, miniatures, and physical stuff put into the project. So now I'm trying to figure out how to make a clay mountain, and there is an app from Autodesk. It's called the 123D app, where you can take pictures of an object, a lot of pictures from different angles and in different heights, and it will generate a 3D objects from it. And I'm just trying to figure it out now how this one is working. So here you can see I made a very crude 3D clay model. Now I'm capturing all the sides with the app, and this will then later processed on their own servers, so you can see a nice representation of the 3D model. And then I will just put this in the computer, and here you can see a test rendering shot of the model, and I'm very satisfied with the results. You know, the results, they look very good. Here I have it in the computer, and made a small rendering shot, and this is going to be a very helpful tool in the process. So before ending the first production diary now, I want to show you a first approximation shot of the intro, and I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe see you next month for the second part.